Welcome, everyone, to the Mormon Lit Lab Podcast. I'm Annaliese, your host for this series, where we discuss the 14th annual Mormon Lit Blitz. Today, I'm joined by Arisael Rivera, author of Rebecca la Misionera, or in English, Rebecca the Missionary. Welcome, Arisael.
Hey, thanks. Happy to be here.
All right. Could you give us a brief introduction of yourself and explain what your experience is with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints?
Yes. As you said, my name is Arisael. I also go by Ari. It's funny. But yeah, I grew up in the Bronx, and I write. I'm an actor. I'm a writer, and I guess recently, maybe not so recently, but definitely a lot more dabbling into directing as well, and doing some of that. But like I've just been living my life in the theater, as they say, and when it comes to the church, I joined when I was 16, which was really funny because a lot of my family had already been baptized and joined the church. But I stuck my guns with my dad going, we grew up Pentecostal. And so I was just still going to a Pentecostal church. And then when I was 16, I decided to join. And because of that, that's why I ended up going to BYU. I went to BYU. I served a mission as well. I served a mission actually where Rebecca la Misionera takes place in Baja California. So that's where that some of that inspiration came from. And then since then, I've just, my relationship with the church has been a growing, interesting one. As life continues to show up, and I'm just so grateful for so much of it. And still go to church now. Actually, I'm working in that as like a state secretary, which is insane because I'm not a secretary person. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm doing this now. I don't know.
All right. Yeah, I think a lot of callings end up like that.
Yeah. What? Who? Okay. Sure.
All right. So your story was chosen as a Judge's Choice Award. So how do you feel about that? What's your reaction?
Oh man, a lot of feelings. I was actually just surprised, and I think a lot of it is because I've known about the Lit Blitz for a long time, because James Goldberg, who's one of the creators, runner of it. He and I, we've known each other because of BYU, and did several classes together, and we started the theater company New Play Project together back in a long time ago. And so I knew that he was doing this, and it was, but I never really got involved. And so I've been I think it's been 3 or 4 years. I'm like, I got to write something for that. I got to write something for this. And then this year I was just like, oh, I'm gonna do it. So I was like, here we go. And so I just, thought of the story and sent it through. But I was surprised because it was my first time. And I just thought, it's probably a pretty good. But it was so great to see to see what the judge felt about it and how he connected, how they connected to it. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. That's what I would hope, as a writer, that's what you would want, that that it resonates, that it, that the story, connected to people, whether that was on the fun idea of a missionary being a superhero, or that's just the general idea of what does it mean to be the best version of yourself in any situation, and so I felt really, I loved what they said about the story, and I was really, really grateful and honestly a little shocked. I was like, wow, I'm glad that my story did that for him, because I read the numbers. There were some really great stories there, man. Great poems. Such a good lit blitz. It was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always amazed at the range of stories we get in the Lit Blitz, and do enjoy a lot of them.
Yeah. I think the audience ones, I was like, yep, that one, yeah, that one, yeah, all together. That was good stuff.
Yeah, so superheroes is one of my favorite genres, and
nice. Mine too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So who's your favorite superhero?
Really funny. I thought about this. I was thinking, because for me, like, I think for a long time it was Captain America. And the funny thing is that the reason why Captain America's the hero was because of video games. When I was a kid, we used to play this Marvel versus Capcom like game, like a fighting game. And I just loved playing with Captain America. Like, it was my favorite character to play. And I loved that he like threw the shield and had like all this. I was like, oh, he's so cool. And he would say stuff like stars and stripes when he would like hit people. I thought it was really funny. And I just loved the character. And he's so cool and buff. And I think when, Chris Evans took over the role, obviously the Marvel Universe, and I got to watch those movies, it just like kind of cemented that for me. Like, oh, what a great hero. Like, I just always love Captain America. I will say, though, I have to give an honorable mention to like, my first like big superhero movie that I fell in love with was probably Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. I think for a long time Spider-Man held that range because I'm like, oh, cool, and I really love those original Spider-Man movies. So,
yeah, those set a high bar for everything that followed.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So I mean, yeah, superheroes are just in there. I used to watch the Power Rangers with my brothers. Love the Power Rangers. So like, I feel like just that idea of like, oh, what is it? Good people. Now you get superpowers and you get to like save the earth. And then, all that is exciting, Is the kind of stuff I'm just like, yeah, that's what we should do. Had powers. How do we use them for good? How do we help everyone? That's what it's
about. So why did you choose to give Rebecca the powers that she did, the super strength, speed, and agility, as opposed to anything else?
For me, it's like I literally just connected her to Superman. That was my idea. Like I was like, what would be the powers that make sense in this situation? And I just said like, well, what if like this missionary is basically Superman? What if she can fly? What if she can go really fast? What if she has the strength, right? The super strength that Superman has. And I just thought like, oh, why not? For me, it's like Superman is such a classic superhero. And so the idea of like, here's a missionary who has those same powers, that's kind of where I leaned in. Like, that would be her power, that she would be able to move really fast. She'd be able to, use her, whether her hands are tiny or not, but be able to use it and like break stuff and throw people if she needed to. And, so I think that was, my thought was just like, I'm going to give her Superman's powers. Like those are the, I know it sounds funny. It was like, those are the classic powers. In my head, it was like, what it would be like if a young missionary had that. Yeah.
Okay. Although I don't think I've ever seen Superman have to deal with being too strong and breaking things on accident.
Yeah, he has more control over her power, I think, over his power than she did, clearly. But yeah, that also very, very true to life for my own experience. Not that I'm strong, but I was a very clumsy missionary. I broke a lot of investigator stuff on accident. So it's just me. It's a little bit of me. And well, I was just like, I was not the time, but there's a few things. And I was like, I don't know how did I even break that? Couldn't even tell you. And it wasn't because of strength. It was tripping clumsily, dropping stuff. It just was a thing.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, imagine all that and you're super strong. I just...
Yeah, so. Just like multiply that by 100 or whatever.
Yeah. Who knows what kind of damage she could have caused, and we just know what Sister Cruz has told us. Who knows what else is...
Yep. The trail of destruction from before her mission as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. This story wrapped up very well within 1,000 words, but you allude to some things in the greater world also, like how she feels like she may not be a missionary anymore once she reveals that she's got these powers. So where do you see Hermanas Herrera and Cruz going from here?
That's a very good question. The the real answer is I am unsure. But what I've thought about is essentially like, what she says to Hermana Cruz is like, I don't think I'm going to be able to be your companion anymore. And so like, I think the conceit there is, I think she was, as a missionary, she has been trying to be a regular missionary. And she was always like, if I show these powers, if people know that I have these powers, is, like, how could I ever be just a normal missionary ever again? And so I think there was a little bit of sadness there when she turns to Monica and says, I don't think I'm going to be able to be, because like the only way that will be helpful here is if I use my powers. And it's this moment in life where it's like, what happens when the moment of decision has come and you just have to do it, right? No matter what you've been trying or what you've been trying to. And so for me, like, when I think about Ana Cruz, obviously part of the other part is that I think they're really close. And I think that's in the mission. And as a person who served the mission, I know that did happen with some of my companions, where it felt like even some companions I only spent 3 months with, within like 2 weeks, we felt this sort of like incredible kinship. And we're like, oh my gosh, like this is like my brother for life. You know what I mean? And I would believe that like, no matter what happens next, Hermana Cruz and Hermana Herrera are going to remain really close and, really good friends. And I don't know, like Hermana Cruz doesn't have any powers, and maybe like, as they say in the Spider-Man movies, the man in the chair, maybe she'll be the one. Like, here's like where there's danger. Maybe you can go, I don't know. But I would imagine, at least for them, is definitely new. And it would just be interesting, because now the question is, like, what is the world going to think? Like, are there other superhero world, right? What is the church going to think? So I feel like those questions, like, what is the, quote unquote authority is going to say about, this person who has these magical powers, right? Like, and powers. And, so I think that's the other thing, right? Is this a world where there are no other superheroes? Is she the only one? And she's a Mormon missionary. What does that mean, right? How does that? So I just I found all those questions so exciting to play with. And yeah, I know for sure that Hermana Cruz and Hermana Herrera for sure will stay close.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So did you have any piece of media or literature that you would recommend for our audience?
That is a good that is a good one. And I know it's probably going to sound so self-serving, but like, there's a lot of really cool stuff out there right now, right? There's so many, probably good to note that I am like a huge, the NBC show, The Office, like Steve Carell, all those. I'm such a nerd for that. So I will tell people, like, always and forever, watch The Office. If I were to like recommend that, like, that's one of the things I recommend to everyone all the time. I think The Office is one of those funny things where it genuinely is like, while it goes pretty wild sometimes, it's all about the human heart and being kind to people and kind of the beauty in ordinary things. And I just think that, like, in life we experience so many crazy things, and both good, bad, wacky, right? And I just think that there's a show that always comes back to the heart. So I'm like, yeah, that's something I would recommend to everyone.
Nice.
That's my favorite. That's one of my favorite things. And then on the other flip side, there's and I know it sounds funny, but I just was thinking about that thing, maybe because we're in a lit list, but James Goldberg's book, Let Me Drown with Moses, his poetry book. For anybody who has any sort of faith, whether they're LDS or they're not, like, the questions asked in that about faith, about what we believe about the life before, about what life can be after, I think James Goldberg captured something incredible. If you are a Mormon Lit Blitz fan, if you have not read this poetry book by James Goldberg, you should absolutely read it. It is one of my favorites. I go back to it. Yeah. Those are the things that come to my head, right?
Nice.
Maybe I'll think something else after this. My brain, those are the I thought of something that I just love, and then of course something that I feel like connects a little more to, my faith as well, and I really like. Yeah.
Okay. So do you have any other projects going on, and are there places online for people to find you?
That's awesome. Yeah, I do. At the moment, I am working on producing a kind of independent theater production here in New York of Shakespeare's As You Like It. So I'm in the process of I'm going to be directing it, and yes, I cast myself as one of the smaller roles, but I'm like, yeah, I want to be in it too because I'm an actor. So, but we have a really cool crew. We're currently and then we're currently like just raising funds and preparing rehearsal spaces and trying to find where we're gonna perform and things like that. So we're in the midst of that producing moment of it. But we have a full cast. We're so excited to bring it. It's gonna be performing here in New York in some of the boroughs, most in Brooklyn, Manhattan, and hopefully in the Bronx, which we're working on at the moment. And it's going to be at the end of September. So like September 21st, I believe, is going to be our first show. And you can Facebook, Instagram is probably the easiest way to find me or what I'm doing.
Yeah, what's your handle?
Yeah, it's is my full name, Arisael, Arisael_RIV. And that'll be the way you can find me on the internet. That's my personal account. And then if you want to find out more about the show that we're doing, As You Like It, it's going to be in New York here, is on Word to the People. So it'll be Word to the People CO on Instagram as well. So you can find it there, or you can also find us on Facebook. You can go to Word to the People, search on Facebook, Word to the People, a theater company, and then you'll see the stuff we've been posting about raising funds and about the cast and about what's coming. So I'm excited about that. I'm really excited about that. That's kind of where my brain mostly is right now, just getting all that stuff ready for that show. But I'm really excited for it. It's we have a really great adaptation by this playwright called Gavin Witt, and I think it's going to be a fun time for everyone. And it's free. So
excellent. It sounds really fun. Wish I could come closer because I'm in Phoenix.
Yeah, a little far. But yes, we'll be doing that. It should be fun. And then I guess separately actually, because I just found out about this. One of my plays, Anniversaries, actually just got accepted into a Forge Night short play festival, also here in New York. So that's going to be going up like mid-September, I think. So I was like, oh, so that was a fun. That was a fun little surprise I got recently. So I'm like, so I'm so excited for that as well. So that's what's coming. So exciting.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for meeting with us. This is a great conversation.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, no, it was so fun. I was really happy to come and chat about it. I really loved the story. I'm so grateful that people embraced it, and just And now I'm like, I gotta write more. I gotta write more. I gotta do more. And I love that character now. And I'm like, oh, is there more? And maybe I'll write the future of Rebecca. Maybe we'll see what happens. I don't know. So yeah.
I'm the only person that's written a sequel story in the Lit Blitz, so I do appreciate that. Yeah, I'd love to see a sequel.
I love it. That's great.
All right. Thank you so much again, and we'll see you later.
Yes, absolutely. Take care.
For more information about the Mormon Lit Blitz, visit mormonlitlab.org. If you would like to support the Mormon Lit Lab in producing Mormon literature through contests, workshops, and publications, look for their PayPal or visit patreon.com/MormonLitLab.